I went through so many different, I guess, like processes, right? I think you definitely learn in terms of, what to do and what not to do when hiring. I think hiring definitely doesn't really come easy to a lot of people, especially
Yeah.
creatives, right? Because we're just so protective of our creative business. And I think I learned a lot in terms of like a few different things from, not only trusting the portfolio, but also really trusting the personality.
Hey, welcome to my channel. My name is Christy Yoder, host of the Master Delegator podcast. The Master Delegator podcast is for busy and overwhelmed entrepreneurs who want to learn how to become effective in the area of delegation and learn how to hire great virtual assistants to help them scale their business and have more time and freedom. If you are new to this channel, please consider subscribing and don't forget to click the notification bell so you get notified every time I post a new video. All right, let's get started. Hey, in this episode, I had a chance to talk to Ari K. She's the co founder and chief creative officer of Chykalophia. Ari helps femtech, DTC, and women led brands transform their website into a platform that unlocks business opportunities. She serves as a branding, UX consultant, and professional peer in support of fellow female entrepreneurs through the number one ranked private business incubator in the world, 1871, Chicago, and Chicago's global healthcare startup incubator, Matter. She's the co host of Halo Femtech Podcast, a podcast that honors disruptive innovators and change makers advancing women's health. Furthermore, she helps women in tech and design break into the industry and succeeds in it by mentoring them for personal branding, career advancement, and entrepreneurship through Interaction Design Foundation and ADP List. Today, we talk about the key elements of a conversion generating website design. Hey, Ari, welcome to the Master Delegator podcast. Thank you so much for showing up today. Before we dive into our topic for today, why don't you tell us about yourself and what you do?
Yes. Oh my goodness, Christy, thank you so much for having me on for today. My name is Ari Krzyzek. I am the co-founder and the CEO at Chykalophia. So essentially what we do is all things related to branding, UX strategy, as well as implementation, and all things for the web. We'd like to say that we primarily help women-led companies really transform their website into gold mine. Now, sometimes people would ask me, okay, what does that even mean? Um, that's a really good question, right? Sometimes we, really work on the branding foundation that our client has, really leveraging, what is it that they do, who they're really targeting, the right target audience that they truly want to pursue and create connection with, and how does that experience going to transfer into their digital ecosystem, especially on the website, whether it's to gain, more leads or create conversions, wherever that might be. So we help them really curate those strategies from the beginning and then really implement those findings into their website. So that's a little bit about me.
That's really awesome, and I want to talk more about that in a little bit here. But I want to know first how you got started into doing this, because I know you've been in this business for 10 years. So what were you doing before, and how young did you start? Your business, because I feel like seeing you right now, you look like you're young, but I know you're originally from Indonesia, and I know us Asians, we don't really get old until we're 60. So I'm curious to know. So tell me
Yeah,
more about those things.
of course. You know, I didn't ever actually have a dream to own my own business, right? I think like being raised in a third world country and in Asia, I think the mindset is completely different. So I started off as a graphic designer assistant, to be honest with you. As soon as I, got out of college, I pursue, the dream that I had to, well, essentially being a designer. So that happened, and this is around a time when I was probably about 23 years old ish, and at that time, my husband, back then my fiance, he simply just asked a simple question. Hey, Ari, I saw that you are super dedicated to your work. It seems like you truly enjoy design. Like, just curious, how much really get paid? So obviously that's a fair question, right? And
Oh, were you still in Indonesia during that time, or
yes,
you're in
yes,
the
I
States already?
was.
Okay.
And I was honestly didn't even expect that particular questions, but that totally makes sense. And I simply answered, okay, it was $250 per month. And then he was like looking at me funny. I was like, are you sure you don't add another zero at the end? It's like, yes, I'm pretty sure about that. So I think that was truly the beginning of the entrepreneurial journey, because he started opening up my world in terms of how can you truly gain I guess like freedom doing what you love through the digital
Yeah.
nomad way, the freelancing way, online stuff, things like that, right? So that was truly the beginning. And after I think it was like about a year or so doing freelance, like I would go to websites like 99 designs or like freelancer.com at the time. But it was truly an eye-opening, I would say, experience for me, because I never knew that is an option. So when that happened, I just feel like this is where I want to go. And once my husband and I got married, we thought about living in the States, so we did. He asked me whether or not I want to be a business partner with him, and I was like, sure, what's the worst that can happen? Right? There's a lot of things that could happen, to be honest.
Yeah.
But so that was the beginning, Christy. I started off around maybe age 20, 23, 24. Now, like, fast forward 10 to 11 years later, I'm
Now
still
I'm
working
calculating
on
your
that.
age.
Yeah.
Wow, so your husband is now your business partner.
Yes, for the better or for worse.
Yeah, I mean, that is very interesting to hear. I mean, not really that interesting, but I mean, for some other people, but to me, yes, because my husband, he's gonna join me in the business full time as well here in 2 weeks. So that's exciting. I feel like it is a milestone in our marriage, because there's, I mean, I'm sure it's exciting, right? But there's a lot of adjustments that we have to make, especially with me, because I'm so used to being independent, working alone in the office, and now I'm gonna have somebody with me, from Monday to to Friday, and and you see that person all the time. So I mean, but kudos to you. You've been in business for 10 years, and thanks to your husband, who was your fiance back then, for supporting you and for kind of like putting you in the right lane. If that makes sense. So what do you do in the business? Like, are you the one designing, or are you acting as the CEO, or and then what does your husband do? Like, is he the manager, or what?
That's
Tell me
a
more about that.
Yes, that's a truly good question. When we started off, it was just the two of us, right? I do design, he does the code or development side of things, and it was honestly just a simple husband and wife studio, for the lack of better words,
I
right?
see. Hmm.
Yeah, but things just start evolving, and this truly shows we didn't actually have enough knowledge about how to build a business and even like growing a company, but you learn as you go. Right? And
Exactly.
we started just noticing, okay, do we truly want to keep the business as the two of us, because I think it would be really cool to do that. And it was perfect until it was not, simply because I couldn't catch up, right? And I start noticing that we get more demands, and people don't really tell you that when you build, an actual business out of something that you truly love, right? Eventually, you're gonna have to let that go, because you need to focus in more of the business development, the planning, the strategy, in order to truly make it more sustainable for you to stay in it and also growing the company. So,
Hmm.
now I feel like I sort of I feel like I don't design as much anymore, right? I mean, I feel like
That's
that's
good, right?
in a way, I guess it's good, but
Yeah.
but I feel like I still enjoy, doing design. It's just that to me now, with the position that I am right now, and the way we want to grow the company going forward, it's not truly the best use of my time, right? And I think at one point I just really have to let that go and really take on the leadership position and have my team to support me in that journey. So a lot of the time now I lead mostly on the strategy side of things, and also some of the art direction as well, and then passing that into my team so that they can help us with the implementation for that particular strategies.
That's really nice. I mean, I'm sure you're not used to not designing, and you would rather, design websites than, leading other people, because you're used to that. I mean, I totally can relate, because before I was a multi-skilled virtual assistant, so I was the one doing everything, for our clients. But we had so much demand and I was overwhelmed, and I thought of, creating an agency and hiring people from the Philippines to help me out. And so now there are days that I don't do anything. What I just do is think about how I can grow the business more, how can I add more value to our clients and even to our team members. So it takes a while to get a lot of to get used to it, but it's for the best, I guess. Just like what you said, if you really want to scale your business, there are things you have to give up in order to do that, and just know that it's for the best, and you'll get used to it, but you can still, you can still do the things that you love. For instance, designing, you can still do that when you have more time or more white space in your calendar, because for me, I love doing marketing for my business, and I have a marketing person. But sometimes I want to be creative in doing marketing, and so sometimes I step in a little bit, so that I won't get bored as well, thinking just about the strategies or thinking about all the admin stuff that I need to do. So yeah, but anyway, that is really good to hear, that you and your husband are working so well, and that you were able to build your own team to help you grow your business. So I want to know, what are the key elements that you need to have on the website in order to have a great user experience?
That's a good one. I feel like I got asked this all the time simply because when you go to a website, right, and you get frustrated simply because the website just didn't really tell you what the website is all about, right? It's just so frustrating. Sometimes you find out about it and it's like, oh, okay, new website. What is it? And they didn't tell you what it is. And then you're just like scratching your head, okay, am I guessing this? Am I guessing that? So to have a good website, in my opinion, first and foremost, really need to answer, what is the website all about, right? Are you offering services? Are you offering a product? Are you offering like a mix of things, or maybe a community service, right? So I think there's just this foundational questions that I would say, like, what is this all about? Like, what is your website about? So that's number one. And then number two, why should people care? And this is, I feel like a lot of the time people would just say, oh, I'll just put whatever on my website. But
Hmm.
hang on a second, right? Do you truly want to have a website that would convert? Or do you just want to have a website that it's just going to look pretty there, but it's not going to give you any return on investment? So the second question that I would want you to really ask, like, does it really tell people how you're different than your competitors, right? So why should they choose you over the other bazillion websites that may be similar to your business, that they should consider either joining or buying or booking and things like it? So that's the second question. The third one, I would also say, tell people how it works. I mean, yes, we're smart people, but sometimes, I'm just gonna say sometimes, right? We truly
Yeah.
just want people to guide us, especially when we just mindlessly browsing something and then we're in the mood, or just like, let me just check out something. And who knows, you might really going to convert this one user simply because you feel that you know them so well, you address every single thing on the website, and you get them really engaged on that particular journey. Therefore, they feel confident to really hit that buy button, or maybe hit that booking button right away on your website. So really ask your business and really be honest. Like, do your website truly answer these three questions? What is it all about? And then why should people care, in terms of like building up that not just reason, but more around using your USP, right? What's unique about you? Tell them that. And also tell them your process. Like, how does this work? Is it a membership? Is it just a one time fee? Or maybe there's something else in your process that you need to let your user know. A really good thing to consider is that think about some of the frequently asked questions that maybe you have gotten a lot from your customers or even like your leads. Like, what are these some of the, frequently asked questions that you could bring up straight away to your homepage and then explain them what they need to know, rather than like having
Hmm.
them digging through every single page that you have
Yeah.
on your website, right? So again, easy to use user experience is so, I guess, like so well thought out. That will be the
Hmm.
beginning of like really having a website that can truly convert for you. Now you could add
That's
in
really awesome.
extra items, obviously, right? Maybe you have, let's say you have press, or maybe you have worked with bigger or well-known companies. You have to build that trust. You could leverage testimonials, or maybe you can leverage, certification and things like that too. So that's another way to incorporate, trust building into your website. And the last thing for most as well, what is the call to action you truly want the user to take? Is it to book? Is it to, contact you, or is it to send you a message? What is the goal of this particular page that you want the user to do?
I love that. So I'll just try to like summarize it as much as I can based on what I got from what you said. So introduce what you do, don't just talk about yourself, but also talk about the needs of your prospects, and also you got to stand out from your competition, and also you have to make sure that you have you guide your prospects on your website on what you want them to do, or maybe you guide them through your process, explain that to them and tell them about what you offer, and also you need to have a call to action. Am I right? Am I missing something?
I think you summarized that pretty well. Yes. So,
Thank you.
so definitely tell them what what this website is all about, right? How you're different, your process, and if you want to build up trust right away, you can also incorporate all the things that you may already have, whether it's press or
Oh yeah.
testimonials, right? And then what is that one call to action you truly want them to take at the end of the day?
All right. Yeah, I missed the social proof part. Thank you for reminding me. But anyway, based on your experience so far, what is that one thing that is lacking on some of your clients' website? I'm not really sure if you create a website from scratch, or do you also audit websites and redesign them?
We do both actually. So I think, our client comes in different size and shapes and needs, and obviously like different customization from one to another, right? Most of the time we would do the audit first just to see like, okay, what do we have, where is, some of the things that needs improvement, maybe things that they have already noticed but they just need an extra pair of eyes to really validate their thinking. There's that part, but there's also, other engagement where we truly help client beginning, from their very beginning stage, right? Whether it's just like, hey, I have an idea, here's my business ideas, here where I want to go. That's also something that we can help them with. But sometimes we also do like redesign, right? Maybe they already have the website for, let's say, 3 or 5 years. They just like made the website just because they want to get something up and running. But now that they have gathered a lot of data, they know where they want to go in the next 5 years, and they truly need extra help in building up those, new strategies, or even like thinking about how can they really better the experience that they want to deliver for their users, and where are some of the, opportunities that they can leverage for the business to grow online.
Right. That's really cool. And so, what is that one thing that you notice, when you audit a website? What is that one thing that they lack the most on the website?
You know, this is gonna sound like super obvious, right? But then again, sometimes when you as the business owner looking at so many different aspects in your business, you get so, um how do I say this? You overlook a lot of things, right? And one of that things is your target audience. I feel like a lot of the, clients that we have, they would have this very basic understanding of like who they're trying to target, and they would tell me like, okay, yeah, we totally know who we're targeting. And sometimes they would say something like, okay, we're targeting women age 30 to, let's say, 45, right? That's it. Right? And it was like, yes, most of the time these are our target audience. And I feel like that just, it wasn't enough, right? You need to define your user persona or your target audience a bit deeper, simply because you need to truly understand their needs, right? Their fears, their dreams, what truly keep them up at night, and what do they
Mm-hmm.
really want to see in their life, in terms of like, how can you and your services or your products, or maybe a combination of both, can truly better their life. Maybe it's to, for their specific challenge around a specific stage in their life. Maybe you're targeting women who are planning for their wedding, or maybe these are the type of women who are, just recently got divorced, right? I mean, like, there's so many different stages in our life, and
Yeah.
I think you can't really target, all women, all different stages. It's just, well, technically you can. I'll take that back. Technically you can, but it's going to be really expensive for you, right? In terms of like doing the marketing and then trying to do the research just to gain that foothold around what do your customer truly need, and then where can you truly come in their life to be relevant for them.
I love that, and I agree that it's so important that us business owners know who our target audience is, because that affects or that impacts our whole marketing, including website, social media, email marketing, and even paid ads. So if you don't know who you're targeting, you are going to lose a lot of money. So be as specific as you can be when it comes to targeting your audience.
Are you sick and tired of being overwhelmed and afraid you'll never scale your business? Meet Smart VAs. Unlike many virtual assistant agencies that only assign one dedicated virtual assistant, we provide flexibility for growing businesses by assigning a team of experienced virtual assistants that can do different tasks to support your continuous growth. Visit smartvas.online to book a free discovery call and start growing your business.
So let's talk about um, how you hired your first team member. So what was it like? Like, where did you find your first team member, and how did you know that that person is the right fit for your business?
Okay, this definitely takes me back to how many years have that been now? Maybe almost 5 years now. And I think it wasn't an easy process for me, simply because, when you started the business yourself, right, you consider this business your baby, and you almost feel like, I got to do everything myself. And when you start to notice that you can't keep up, like it or not, you have to hire, you have to delegate. But it's not something that, most people find as an easy process to go through, simply because you feel like you have to control everything. And at least, that was
Mm-hmm.
me in the beginning, because I feel like, oh, what if they can't do it fast, as fast as I can? Or what if they mess up? Or what if, there's just so many what if, to be honest. And I think at one point, you just starting to realize that if you don't hire out, if you don't delegate, one, you're gonna lose you're gonna lose your mind, and two, it's just not gonna be a sustainable business, right? It's gonna be like one of those jobs that maybe you never like in the first place, but yet you just stay on it because of the money. And I think, business owners and entrepreneurs, we do what we do today because we truly believe this is what we enjoy doing, right? So rather
Right.
than getting stuck in that loop again, like it or not, you got to hire out and you got to delegate. So I think, that process looks like for me in terms of like finding my first designer, and just to really, help them have a better understanding in terms of like how I do things, how we typically approach certain, design requests, things like that. And I have to admit that I did not know what I was getting myself into, because everything was in my head, right? When you have everything
Yeah.
is in your head rather than on a documentation or on a SOP, or standard operating procedure, um, it's 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 really hard, simply because now you finally realize, oh man, I should have documented everything, right? I should have done this, I should have done that. But again, it's never too late. I feel like the first step really is to finally realize you can't grow unless you delegate, right? You can't grow unless you let go of that perfection and really start trusting the person that you're trying to hire. And also, it's really understanding that, do you have some of these systems in place or the documentation in place so that you can truly help them, get on the same page with you in terms of the process that you typically take for working on a project, or working with the client.
Yeah, that's really awesome. So, your first hire, is he still working with you, or is he she still working with you as of the moment, or you replace that person with somebody else?
I've replaced her with somebody else. And here's the thing, I went through so many different, I guess, like processes, right? I think you definitely learn in terms of, what to do and what not to do when hiring. I think hiring definitely doesn't really come easy to a lot of people, especially
Yeah,
creatives, right? Because we're just so protective of our creative business. And I think I learned a lot in terms of like a few different things from, not only trusting the portfolio but also really trusting the personality. So in the past
right.
I would, only hire based on the work that they've done. And a couple of times I got burned from that, simply because a lot of things that they have put on their portfolio doesn't necessarily translate to their full work experience. So there's obviously improvement in terms of like a testing that I had to do with a lot of the applicants whenever they reach out to me for, filling out positions, right? Especially on design, I want to make sure that what they put out there reflects truly with their experiences and also their skill set and things like it. So I would have to say, don't just look at the surface, right? I think today we often, work with our team member who has a good fit around values, as well as also
Yeah,
a good fit around personality. Because to be honest with you, I would say, a skill, especially skills around design or development or things like that, you can definitely teach that. But at the core of somebody's purpose, somebody's, vision and values, you can't truly like, dictate that. It has to come from the inside, right? So I feel like
that's true.
when we find the right person, it has to be somebody who we feel like we align in terms of values, and they are truly, somebody who are eager to learn. And I think that's the biggest part for us, because a lot of the team member that we have, we make mistakes. We will make mistakes, right? But how do we really grow from that mistake? Do we, just like stay in the same place, or do we really challenge ourselves to grow and learn and find the answer for ourselves and our team to
Hmm.
grow? So I think again, it's crazy business around hiring. I feel like hiring can be another conversation
Yeah.
on its own, but I would
Hmm.
also like trust your gut in terms of like finding the right person, because it's easy to hire, and then definitely easy to hire, but it's hard to fire, right? So I don't want to be put in that situation. So a lot of time we hire hard and we fire fast.
Yeah, I love that. That's pretty much how I do it as well. I hire fast, I fire faster, because it's just gonna, if it doesn't work for you and for the individual, then might as well part ways, right? You're just not nothing personal. It's just business. You're just not perfect for each other business wise, and I totally agree with you that hiring, people to help you in the business, it takes a lot of time and energy, but you should really put in so much time and energy into it, because that person is going to join you in the business, and you really have to make sure that that person is the best person to join your company. So I think it's all right, if there are times we feel like, oh, we did not hire the best person, or we thought this person is the right fit but not really. It's okay, just be candid to that person, talk to that person, be authentic, and just tell that person, your thoughts, with honesty, in a loving way, so that you don't frustrate yourself, you don't get disappointed, and that person don't get the end of the stick as well, because you're you're disappointed, you know. So I think it's just learning, it's learning how to be honest and transparent, at the same time caring for that person, because firing somebody doesn't mean you do not care for that person. It look at it as something that, very loving and caring if you do that, because that means you're giving that person a different or another opportunity to excel. So if that person is not thriving in your business, well, maybe there's a different business that that person can excel in. So yeah, this is really good, Ari. So how do you delegate to your team members now? You mentioned earlier that in the past you didn't have SOPs, you didn't have systems in place, so I'm guessing you do have those two things already.
Yes, I would say, yes and no. I mean, I like to be transparent, right? And I think that's definitely one of the core of values that we have in the company. And right now there's a lot of things that change in our company. So there's a few different items in terms of like SOPs and processes and documentation that needs to be updated, right? But I would say in terms of like delegating, the big thing that I learned around delegation is that I need to trust. That's definitely number one, right? You need to trust this next person that you're going to delegate. Without the trust, you're gonna end up, you know, taking the work yourself. I've been there, and it's never fun because
Oh
you
yeah.
have it in your mind. It's like, okay, I'm gonna get help, but then you didn't trust the person. You're gonna end up like doing the double work yourself. So try to avoid that. And the second part that I feel like has been really helpful is that it needs to align with the target, sorry, not target audience, but the person that you're trying to delegate to. What are their top skills, or their strengths and weaknesses? It's really hard trying to push something that one person really having a hard time doing versus where they can truly excel, and then really help you take that off your plate, right? So for example, in my design team, I believe there are like around four, actually five designers in my team, and every single one of them has a very specific skill, ranging from our senior visual designers, and then second we have UI UX designer, and we have motion graphic designer as well, and a design lead. So every single one of them has a very unique skills that I would need in order to complete a very successful project. So having at least an understanding like who can I trust this one part of the process, right? And who can I truly trust for maybe one particular project? And I think that has really helped me being like, the leader that I am today, because I can truly trust somebody to take on something very specific off of my plate. And I know they're going to do perfectly, amazing job on that.
That is awesome, and I totally, excuse me, and I totally agree that you need to know the strengths and weaknesses of your team members, so that you know where that can people, where that person can thrive in and succeed at. So that's really good that you're doing that. But as a business owner, how do you make sure that you are learning every day? Like, what are the things that you do in order to learn as a as a person and as a business leader?
Whew. I feel like there's always going to be something new out there, right? Whether it's design trends for us, or to truly learn about how can we do a better, I guess, like a better service to our you know customers or clients, or maybe people in our network and things like that, or even to our team members, right? To be that better leader for them. To me, I feel like I never stop learning. I mean, I feel like, yeah, I always try to see like, okay, what else do I need in order to help me, do things better, maybe around X. And having a quarterly review has been very helpful for me. And almost most of the time, whenever I do that quarterly review, it's not only for me to review my team members, but also to really hear the feedback, like how can I be better to support our team member in their journey, right? Because I had been very fortunate in my journey to have a fantastic managers that truly have a huge interest in my growth. So I definitely want to do the same to my own team members under me, so that I know how can I truly support them rather than just like telling them what to do, which I feel like that's not the leader that I want, that I wish to be. So there are a lot of different areas that I feel like I'm still lacking, and I'm trying to find the resources that I need in order to be the better support for my team members.
That's really awesome. And if you can name one thing that has really helped you a lot in terms of business leadership, what is that?
Watching a lot of videos. There's that, right? I think
Yep.
watching videos around
Is that YouTube
leadership.
videos or TikTok videos?
It's actually a combination of both. I feel like there are,
Okay.
you know, um, if you search like leadership videos, whether it's from Simon Sinek's, or if you're in the creative space, the ones from Chris Do, and looking at other resources, maybe paid resources as well. Right. Recently, I joined a leadership program called Abroad.io, and I'm honestly really enjoying that program simply because it's dedicated specifically towards leaders who are trying to do better for their own personal development, but also to give them the resources they need to also be a better leader for their team members. So to me, I feel like it's truly a matter of like, what are some of the things that you feel you're lacking right now? Try to see whether or not there are either courses or programs, or maybe like TikTok videos out there that can truly help
Yeah.
you, step a little bit further towards that, maybe like a limitation that you have, or a mindset that you have right now, and then slowly towards the goal where you want to be.
Awesome. That's really nice. I rarely watch TikTok videos, but sometimes other people, just like one of my friends, she's not a business owner. So often, if she would go on TikTok, she would see, dancing videos and everything. But whenever I get on TikTok, I don't see those things because I think the algorithm knows that I am a business owner. So the algorithm shows me all videos from, from business leadership to marketing to social media, whatever. So I think there's a lot of things we can learn online just as long as we know what we need to look for, and we also know how to filter what we see online, because not all advice online are something that's applicable to your business or to you individually, because we are all different, and we are in different stages of our business. So learn how to filter those things as well, if you can. But thank you so much for your time, Ari. I enjoyed our conversation together. And before we end this conversation, this interview, where can people find you online? And feel free to share any free resources that you have.
I've been hanging around on LinkedIn a lot lately, so you can
Oh,
easily
me
find me on
too.
LinkedIn. Yeah,
Are we
find me on
connected on
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn?
I'm sorry.
I was just curious if we're connected on LinkedIn, but I don't think we are. Let me see.
Yeah, please do connect with me on
Are,
LinkedIn.
okay, I will. All right, so your LinkedIn is Ari K. I don't know how to pronounce your last name.
Yes, it's Ari
What's your
Krzyzek.
LinkedIn name?
Yes,
Okay,
fantastic.
cool.
You can also check out my website at cklph.com, right? We're currently, well, my partner and I, my husband and I, we're currently working on a book around, truly leveraging your brand on the digital channels. So stay tuned on that one. And I'm happy to give
That's
out,
exciting.
yes, thank you. I'm happy to give out 5 copies for your listeners. So anyone who's listening right now, feel free to reach out to me, via LinkedIn, and hopefully you'll be one of the 5 people who can get our free copy.
Yes, that is so awesome. I'll put those links in the show notes for this episode, and feel free, you guys, to those who are listening to this episode, reach out to Ari, connect with her so you can get a free copy of her upcoming book. That's so exciting, Ari. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Christy.